Anna Jameson never imagined that offering shelter to a stranded biker on a rainy October night would drag her into a deadly war between rival motorcycle clubs. The man standing at her door, soaked to the bone and bleeding from his knuckles, seemed harmless enough, but when she glimpsed the death's head emblem on the back of his leather jacket, she knew she'd invited danger itself into her quiet suburban home. What she didn't know was that 3 blocks away, members of the Iron Serpents were already planning their next move, and her guest wasn't just any Hells Angels member. He was the one they'd been hunting for months. Before we carry on, please hit the subscribe button to make my day, and let me know where you are watching from in the comments. The rain hammered against Anna Jameson's kitchen window with such fury that she could barely see the street beyond her front yard. Thunder rolled across the October sky, shaking the modest 2-story house she'd called home for the past 3 years since her divorce. She stood at the sink, washing the dinner dishes from another evening spent alone, when the rumble of a motorcycle engine cut through the storm's cacophony. Anna paused, a soapy plate suspended in her hands, listening as the engine sputtered and died somewhere close by. Living on Maple Street in the quiet suburb of Millbrook meant that motorcycles were a rare sound, especially at nearly 10 o'clock on a Tuesday night. She dried her hands on a dish towel and moved to the front window, pulling back the sheer curtains to peer into the darkness. Through the sheets of rain, she could make out a figure hunched over a large motorcycle parked beneath the flickering streetlight across from her house. The bike appeared to have broken down, steam rising from its engine, and the rider was frantically trying to restart it. Each attempt resulted in nothing but a weak clicking sound that even Anna could hear over the storm. Anna watched for several minutes, her conscience warring with her practical side. Her ex-husband Derek had always told her she was too trusting, too willing to help strangers who might not have her best interests at heart. But as she observed the lone figure in the rain, struggling with what was clearly a mechanical failure, her compassionate nature won out. She grabbed her yellow raincoat from the hall closet and stepped onto her covered front porch. "Hey!" she called out, raising her voice to be heard over the storm. "Are you okay over there?" The figure straightened and turned toward her voice. Even from a distance, and through the rain, Anna could see it was a man, tall and broad-shouldered, wearing dark clothing that was thoroughly soaked. He hesitated for a moment before responding. "Just bike trouble," he called back, his voice deep and carrying a slight rasp. "Don't worry about it, ma'am. I'll figure it out." Anna pulled her raincoat tighter around her shoulders. "You're going to catch pneumonia out there. Do you need to call someone? A tow truck, maybe?" The man kicked at something on the ground, probably a puddle, and Anna could sense his frustration even from her porch. "Phone's dead," he said. "And most places won't come out in this weather anyway." Without fully considering the implications, Anna found herself walking down her front steps and across the rain-soaked street. As she got closer, more details became visible in the yellow glow of the streetlight. The man was indeed large, probably 6 feet 2 or 3, with shoulder-length dark hair plastered to his head by the rain. His clothing consisted of blue jeans, heavy boots, and a black leather jacket that looked like it had seen many years and many miles. But it was his face that caught Anna's attention as she approached. Despite the rough exterior, he had kind eyes, the deep brown that reflected both surprise and wariness at her approach. His face was angular and weathered, with a few days' worth of stubble covering his jaw, and there was a small cut above his left eyebrow that had been bleeding recently. His knuckles, she noticed, were scraped and bruised, as if he'd been in some kind of altercation. "I'm Anna," she said, extending her hand. "Anna Jameson. I live right across the street." He looked at her hand for a moment before taking it with his own, which was large and calloused, but surprisingly gentle. "Marcus," he said simply. "Marcus Kane. And I appreciate you coming out here, but you really shouldn't be talking to someone like me." "Someone like you?" Anna asked, genuinely curious rather than offended. "What's that supposed to mean?" Marcus glanced down at his jacket, and Anna followed his gaze. For the first time, she could clearly see the emblem on the front, a small patch over the left breast pocket, but it was too dark and rain-obscured to make out the details. "Let's just say I'm not exactly the type of neighbor you probably want around," he said. Anna studied his face in the streetlight. Despite his ominous words, she saw no malice there, only exhaustion, and something that might have been resignation. "Well, Marcus Kane, I don't know what type of person you think you are, but right now, you look like someone who's cold, wet, and stranded. My mother raised me to help people in trouble, regardless of what type they might be." A ghost of a smile crossed Marcus's lips. "Your mother sounds like a good woman." "She was," Anna replied. "The best. Now, what's wrong with your bike?" Marcus turned back to the motorcycle, a large Harley-Davidson that looked like it had been well maintained, until whatever had happened tonight. "Started making weird noises about 10 miles back," he explained, running his hand along the engine housing. "Then it just died on me right here. Could be the alternator, could be electrical, could be a dozen different things. Hard to tell in this weather." "And you were heading where?" "North," Marcus said vaguely. "Had some business to take care of up in Seattle?" Anna nodded, not pressing for details. "Well, you're welcome to use my phone to call someone, or wait out the storm inside where it's warm. I've got coffee, and I could probably find you a towel." Marcus stared at her for a long moment, as if trying to determine whether she was serious or perhaps slightly insane. "Lady Anna, I appreciate the offer, I really do. But you don't know me from Adam. For all you know, I could be a murderer or a thief or worse." "Are you?" Anna asked directly. "Am I what? A murderer or a thief or worse?" Marcus seemed taken aback by her bluntness. "No," he said finally. "No, I'm not." "Then I guess there's no problem," Anna said, turning back toward her house. "Come on, before we both drown out here." She was halfway across the street before she heard Marcus's footsteps behind her, accompanied by the creak and jingle of his leather jacket. As they climbed the steps to her front porch, Anna got her first clear look at the back of that jacket, and what she saw there made her steps falter for just a moment. Emblazoned across the back in large, ornate letters was the word "Hells," and beneath it, "Angels." Surrounding the unmistakable Death's Head logo, the winged skull that was recognized worldwide as the symbol of the most notorious motorcycle club in existence. Below the main patch were smaller ones that Anna didn't recognize, but their presence suggested this wasn't just some weekend rider playing dress-up. Anna felt a chill that had nothing to do with the October rain, but she continued up the steps and opened her front door. She'd already committed to helping this man, and despite what his jacket proclaimed about his affiliations, her gut told her he wasn't a threat to her personally. "Jesus," Marcus said as he stepped into Anna's warm, well-lit living room. "This is nice. Really nice." Anna looked around her home, trying to see it through a stranger's eyes. The living room was comfortable and welcoming, with an overstuffed couch and matching chairs arranged around a brick fireplace. Built-in bookshelves lined one wall, filled with mysteries and romance novels, and family photos covered the mantelpiece. It was thoroughly middle-class and suburban, the kind of place that probably seemed like a different world to someone like Marcus. "Thank you," she said, hanging her raincoat on a hook by the door. "Why don't you give me that wet jacket, and I'll throw it in the dryer? You must be freezing." Marcus hesitated, his hands moving to the zipper of his jacket but not quite pulling it down. "I don't want to impose," he said. "It's not an imposition," Anna assured him. "Really? Besides, you'll drip all over my hardwood floors if you keep wearing that soaked leather." With obvious reluctance, Marcus unzipped his jacket and shrugged out of it, revealing a black t-shirt underneath that was also damp, but not soaked through. As Anna took the heavy leather jacket from him, she could feel the weight of it and smell the distinctive scent of well-worn leather mixed with motor oil and something else. Something she couldn't quite identify but that seemed inherently masculine and dangerous. "I'll be right back," she said, disappearing into the laundry room off the kitchen. As she arranged the jacket in her dryer, she couldn't help but examine the patches more closely. Besides the main Hells Angels emblem, there were several smaller patches, including one that read Oakland, and another that said 1%, which Anna knew from crime shows indicated the wearer was part of the 1% of motorcyclists who lived outside the law. When she returned to the living room, Marcus was standing awkwardly in the center of the space, looking like he wasn't sure whether to sit down or remain standing. His dark hair was still dripping, and she could see that his t-shirt clung to a physique that suggested he did more than just ride motorcycles for exercise. "Please, sit down," Anna said, gesturing to the couch. "I'll get you a towel and some coffee. Or would you prefer something stronger? I think I have some whiskey." "Coffee's fine," Marcus said, settling carefully onto the edge of the couch as if he expected it to protest his presence. "But you really don't need to go to any trouble." "No trouble?" Anna called from the kitchen, where she was starting a fresh pot of coffee. "I was going to make some for myself anyway." As the coffee brewed, Anna found herself studying Marcus from the kitchen doorway. Without the intimidating leather jacket, he looked less like an outlaw and more like an ordinary man who happened to be built like a linebacker. He was examining the family photos on her coffee table with genuine interest, his expression softening as he looked at what she assumed was a picture of her parents. "Is this your family?" he asked when he noticed her watching. "My parents," Anna said, bringing him a thick towel from the linen closet. "They passed away a few years ago, within 6 months of each other. Sometimes I think they planned it that way." Marcus accepted the towel and began drying his hair. "Sounds like they really loved each other." 43 years of marriage, Anna confirmed. "High school sweethearts. I used to think everyone's parents were like that until I got older and realized how rare it really is." "What about you?" Marcus asked carefully. "Married?" "Divorced," Anna said, settling into the chair across from him. 2 years now. Turned out my ex-husband had a very different definition of till death do us part than I did." Marcus nodded knowingly. "I'm sorry. That must have been hard." "It was," Anna admitted. "But in some ways, it was also liberating. I spent so many years trying to be the perfect wife for someone who was never going to appreciate it anyway. Now I get to figure out who I am when I'm just being myself." The coffee finished brewing, and Anna poured 2 mugs, adding cream and sugar to her own, and offering both to Marcus. He took his black, wrapping his large hands around the mug as if trying to absorb its warmth. "So?" Anna said, settling back in her chair. "What's your story, Marcus Kane? And please don't tell me it's complicated, because in my experience, the complicated stories are usually the most interesting ones." Marcus took a long sip of coffee before answering. "You saw my jacket," he said finally. "That probably tells you most of what you need to know." "It tells me you're a member of the Hells Angels," Anna said matter-of-factly. "It doesn't tell me anything about who you are as a person." Marcus seemed surprised by her response. "Most people hear Hells Angels and immediately start looking for the exits." "I'm not most people," Anna said. "My father always taught me that you judge people by their actions, not by the group they belong to or the uniform they wear. So far, your actions had been polite and respectful." "Your father sounds like he was a wise man." He was. He was also a cop for 30 years, so he had plenty of experience with people from all walks of life. This information seemed to make Marcus uncomfortable, and he shifted slightly on the couch. "A cop, huh? Bet he wouldn't approve of you inviting me in." "My father would have done exactly the same thing I did," Anna said firmly. He believed in helping people who needed help, regardless of their background. He also believed in giving people the benefit of the doubt until they proved they didn't deserve it. Marcus stared at her for a moment, something unreadable in his dark eyes. "You're either very brave or very foolish, Anna Jameson." "Maybe a little of both," Anna admitted with a smile. "But I prefer to think of it as optimistic." They sat in comfortable silence for a few minutes, listening to the rain continue its assault on the windows. Anna found herself studying Marcus's face, noting the small scars and lines that spoke of a life lived harder than most. Despite his intimidating size and obvious toughness, there was something almost gentle about the way he held his coffee mug and the careful way he seemed to be trying not to take up too much space in her living room. "Can I ask you something?" Anna said eventually. "Shoot. Those cuts on your knuckles, the one above your eye. Were you in a fight tonight?" Marcus's jaw tightened slightly, and he set down his coffee mug. "Something like that? Are you in some kind of trouble?" Marcus was quiet for so long that Anna began to think he wasn't going to answer. When he finally spoke, his voice was low and serious. "Anna, there are some things you're better off not knowing. Some things that could put you in danger just by knowing about them." Are you in danger? Anna pressed. Marcus met her eyes directly. Potentially, which is another reason why you should have left me out in the rain. Anna felt a chill run down her spine, but she kept her voice steady. What kind of danger? The kind that involves people who don't much care about collateral damage, Marcus said grimly. Look, Anna, I appreciate everything you've done for me tonight, more than you know, but maybe it would be better if I called a cab or something, got out of here before I bring any trouble to your door. Why? Before Anna could respond, the sound of multiple motorcycle engines rumbled through the storm, growing louder as they approached her street. Marcus's entire demeanor changed in an instant, his body tensing and his hand automatically moving to his waistband as if reaching for something that wasn't there. Shit, he muttered, moving quickly to the front window and peering out through the curtains. What is it? Anna asked, following him to the window. Company, Marcus said tersely. The kind I was hoping to avoid. Anna looked out at the street and saw 3 motorcycles pulling up near where Marcus's disabled Harley sat under the streetlight. The riders were all wearing leather jackets, similar to Marcus's, but even from her window, Anna could tell these jackets bore different patches, different colors. Iron serpents, Marcus said, more to himself than to Anna. How the hell did they find me so fast? Iron serpents? Anna repeated. Rival club, Marcus explained, stepping away from the window. We don't exactly exchange Christmas cards. The 3 bikers had dismounted and were examining Marcus's motorcycle, clearly trying to determine where its rider might have gone. One of them, a tall, thin man with long blonde hair, pointed toward Anna's house, and the other 2 began walking across the street. Anna, Marcus said urgently, I need you to listen to me very carefully. These men are not like me. They won't be polite or respectful. And they won't care that you're innocent in all this. If they come to your door, you don't know me, you've never seen me, and you have no idea where I might be. Do you understand? Anna's heart was pounding, but she nodded. What about you? Where will you go? I'll figure something out, Marcus said. Is there a back door? Through the kitchen, Anna said. But Marcus, you can't just run out into the storm, and your bike is broken. Better than the alternative, Marcus said grimly. Before he could head for the kitchen, the sound of heavy boots on the front porch steps announced that the iron serpents had arrived. Anna and Marcus froze as someone pounded aggressively on the front door. Open up, a rough voice called out. We know someone's in there. Anna looked at Marcus, who had gone completely still, every muscle in his body coiled for action. She could see him calculating options, looking for an escape route or preparing for a confrontation. Anna Jameson? The voice called out again, and both Anna and Marcus looked shocked that they knew her name. We just want to talk. No need to make this difficult. How do they know your name? Marcus whispered. Anna shook her head, her mouth suddenly dry. I have no idea. The pounding on the door became more insistent. We saw the lights, lady. We know you're home. Just open the door and nobody gets hurt. Marcus moved closer to Anna, positioning himself between her and the front door. Is there another way out? He whispered. Window? Basement exit? Anything? The sliding door in the kitchen leads to the backyard, Anna whispered back. But there's a fence, and I don't know if there's someone watching the back of the house. Only one way to find out, Marcus said. But before they could move toward the kitchen, the sound of shattering glass came from the back of the house, followed by the thud of boots on her kitchen floor. Looks like they thought of that too, Marcus said grimly. Anna felt panic rising in her chest as she realized they were trapped. The pounding on the front door continued, while heavy footsteps moved through her kitchen toward the living room. Marcus Kane. A new voice called out from the kitchen, this one with a distinct southern accent. We know you're in here, brother. Time to come out and face the music. Marcus stepped protectively in front of Anna, his hands clenched into fists, despite the obvious futility of fighting multiple opponents. Stay behind me, he told Anna quietly. No matter what happens, stay behind me. A large man emerged from the kitchen doorway, wearing the black and green colors of the iron serpents. He was even bigger than Marcus, with arms covered in tattoos, and a face that looked like it had been on the wrong end of many fights. Behind him came a second man, shorter but wiry, with cold blue eyes and a predatory smile. "Well, well," the big man said, looking around Anna's comfortable living room with obvious disdain. "Look what we got here. Marcus Kane hiding out in suburbia with some soccer mom." "Leave her out of this, Razor," Marcus said, his voice steady despite the impossible situation. "This is between you and me." "Is it now?" the man called Razor said, grinning unpleasantly. "See, that's where you're wrong, Kane. When you decided to rat out our operation to the feds, you made it everyone's business." Anna felt her blood run cold. Marcus had been working with federal agents? That would explain why the Iron Serpents were so eager to find him. "I didn't rat anyone out," Marcus said firmly. "I told you that already. And yet, somehow the feds knew exactly when and where to hit our warehouse," the smaller man said, speaking for the first time. "Funny how that worked out, right after you disappeared from Oakland." "Coincidence," Marcus said. Razor laughed, a sound devoid of humor. "Right, coincidence." He looked around the room again, his gaze settling on Anna. "What about you, sweetheart? You believe in coincidences?" Anna tried to speak, but found her voice caught in her throat. Marcus shifted slightly, keeping himself between her and the two intruders. "She doesn't know anything about this," Marcus said. "She just offered shelter to a stranded motorist, that's all." "Uh-huh," Razor said, clearly not buying it. "And I suppose she doesn't know about the $200,000 you stole from our Oakland chapter either?" Anna gasped involuntarily. $200,000? What had she gotten herself into? "I didn't steal anything," Marcus said, but Anna noticed his voice had lost some of its conviction. "No?" the smaller man said. "Then where's the money, Kane? Where's the cash that went missing right before you took your little vacation?" Marcus didn't answer, which seemed to be answer enough for the two Iron Serpents. Razor pulled a large knife from his jacket, the blade gleaming in the light from Anna's table lamps. "Here's how this is going to work," Razor said conversationally. "You're going to tell us where the money is, and then we're going to take you somewhere quiet, where we can discuss the whole federal cooperation situation, and your lady friend here is going to forget she ever saw any of us. And if I don't?" Marcus asked. Razor's smile turned ugly. "Then we kill you both and tear this place apart until we find whatever we're looking for. Either way, we get what we want. The only question is how much blood ends up on these nice clean floors." Anna could feel Marcus tensing beside her, preparing for what he probably knew was a hopeless fight. She found her voice at last, surprising everyone in the room. "The money isn't here," she said clearly. All three men turned to stare at her. Marcus looked shocked, while Razor and his companion seemed intrigued. "Oh, really?" Razor said. "And how would you know that, sweetheart?" Anna's mind raced, trying to think of something, anything, that might buy them time or get these dangerous men out of her house. "Because he already told me about it," she said, hoping her voice sounded more confident than she felt. "He said he hid it somewhere safe, somewhere you'd never think to look." Marcus stared at her in amazement, but he was smart enough not to contradict her story. "Is that so?" Razor said, stepping closer to Anna. The knife in his hand caught the light again. "And where might that be?" Anna swallowed hard, realizing she'd painted herself into a corner. "He said he'd only tell if you guaranteed safe passage out of the state. For both of us." Razor laughed again. "Lady, you've been watching too many movies. We don't make deals with thieves and snitches." "Then you don't get the money," Anna said, trying to sound braver than she felt. The room fell silent except for the continued sound of rain against the windows. Anna could feel everyone's eyes on her, and she began to wonder if she'd just made a fatal mistake. Then Marcus spoke up, his voice calm and measured. "She's right," he said. "The money's not here, and I'm the only one who knows where it is." Razor's eyes narrowed. "You're lying." "Am I?" Marcus asked. "You want to take that chance? Kill me now, and you'll never see a penny of it." The two Iron Serpents exchanged glances. Anna could practically see them weighing their options, trying to decide whether Marcus was bluffing or telling the truth. "Where is it?" the smaller man asked. "Safe deposit box," Marcus said without hesitation. "Different city, different state. Takes 2 keys to open it, and I've got them both." Anna marveled at how convincing Marcus sounded. Either he was an excellent liar, or there really was money hidden somewhere. "Bullshit," Razor said, but there was uncertainty in his voice now. "You want to test that theory?" Marcus asked. "Go ahead and kill me. See how much good it does you." Another long silence followed. Finally, Razor lowered his knife slightly. "Here's what we're going to do," he said. "We're all going to take a little ride together. You're going to show us this safe deposit box, and when we have the money, then we'll discuss your other transgressions." "Not happening," Marcus said firmly. "I'm not going anywhere with you, and neither is she." "Oh, but you are," Razor said, raising the knife again. "Because if you don't, I'm going to start cutting pieces off your girlfriend here, until you change your mind." Anna felt terror wash over her as Razor took another step toward her. Marcus moved quickly, placing himself directly in front of her, his hands raised in a fighting stance. "Touch her, and you're a dead man," Marcus said, his voice carrying a menace that made even Razor pause. "Big words for someone who's outnumbered," the smaller man said. "Maybe," Marcus admitted. "But I guarantee you won't walk away from this either." The tension in the room was palpable, everyone waiting for someone else to make the first move. Anna could hear her own heartbeat pounding in her ears. Then, from outside, came the sound of approaching sirens. All 4 people in Anna's living room froze, listening as the sirens grew louder and closer. Red and blue lights began flashing through the windows, painting the walls in alternating colors. "Shit," Razor muttered, looking toward the front windows. "Looks like someone called the cavalry," Marcus said with grim satisfaction. Anna realized that one of her neighbors must have seen the break-in or heard the commotion and called the police. She'd never been so happy to live in a quiet suburban neighborhood where people paid attention to what was happening around them. "Back door," the smaller man said urgently to Razor. "We need to go now." But Marcus shook his head. "Too late for that. They'll have the whole block surrounded by now." Indeed, the sirens seemed to be coming from multiple directions, and the flashing lights were getting brighter. Car doors began slamming outside, and Anna could hear voices shouting instructions. Razor looked at Marcus with pure hatred. "This isn't over, Kane. Not by a long shot." "Yes, it is," Marcus said calmly. "Because I'm done running." The front door of Anna's house suddenly burst open, and police officers poured into the living room with weapons drawn. "Everyone on the ground, now!" the lead officer shouted. "Hands where we can see them." Anna immediately dropped to her knees and put her hands behind her head, her heart still racing from the confrontation she'd just witnessed. Marcus also complied, lowering himself to the floor with his hands visible. The 2 iron serpents hesitated for a moment, as if considering making a fight of it, but the sight of multiple police weapons pointed in their direction convinced them to surrender as well. "Clear the kitchen!" someone shouted, and Anna heard more officers moving through her house, making sure there were no additional intruders hiding anywhere. As the police secured the scene, Anna found herself lying on her own living room floor, staring at the underside of her coffee table and wondering how her quiet Tuesday evening had turned into something out of an action movie. The events of the night seemed surreal, as if they'd happened to someone else. "Ma'am," one of the officers said, gently helping Anna to her feet. "Are you injured? Do you need medical attention?" Anna shook her head, though she was still trembling from the adrenaline. "I'm okay. Scared, but okay. Can you tell me what happened here tonight?" Before Anna could answer, she looked over at Marcus, who was being handcuffed along with the 2 iron serpents. Their eyes met for a moment, and she saw something in his expression that might have been gratitude or regret, or both. "It's complicated," Anna said finally. Over the next 2 hours, Anna found herself repeating that phrase multiple times as she tried to explain to various police officers and detectives exactly how she'd ended up in the middle of what they described as an ongoing federal investigation into motorcycle club criminal activities. Detective Sarah Rodriguez, a woman in her 40s with kind eyes and a no-nonsense manner, took Anna's official statement in her kitchen while crime scene technicians processed the rest of the house. "So, you'd never seen Marcus Kane before tonight?" Detective Rodriguez asked for the third time. Never, Anna confirmed. He was just a stranded motorist who needed help. And you had no idea he was a member of the Hells Angels? Not until I saw his jacket, Anna said. But even then, I didn't know anything about stolen money or federal investigations or any of this other stuff. Detective Rodriguez made notes in her pad. Mrs. Jameson, I have to ask, why did you tell the Iron Serpents that you knew where the money was hidden? That was extremely dangerous. Anna sighed, exhaustion finally beginning to set in. I don't know. I was scared, and they were threatening us with that knife, and I thought if I could make them think we had some value alive, they might not kill us immediately. I was just buying time, hoping something would happen. Well, something did happen, Detective Rodriguez said. Your neighbor across the street, Mrs. Patterson, saw the men break into your house and called 911. You're very lucky she was looking out her window at the right time. I'll have to thank her, Anna said weakly. Mrs. Jameson, I need you to understand that this situation is far from over. Marcus Kane is wanted in connection with a federal racketeering investigation. And there may be other members of both motorcycle clubs who consider you a loose end now that you've been involved in this incident. Anna felt her stomach drop. What does that mean exactly? It means you may need to consider relocating, at least temporarily, until we can sort out the various criminal cases and make sure you're not in any ongoing danger. The idea of leaving her home, her job, her entire life, because she'd tried to help a stranger, seemed incredibly unfair. But Anna was beginning to understand that fairness had very little to do with the world she'd stumbled into. What about Marcus? Anna asked. What's going to happen to him? Detective Rodriguez closed her notebook. That's not really something I can discuss with you. He'll be processed through the system like any other suspect. But he protected me tonight, Anna said. When those men threatened me, he put himself between us. That has to count for something. It will be noted in my report, Detective Rodriguez said diplomatically. After the police finished their investigation and left, taking all three bikers with them, Anna found herself alone in her violated home. The sliding glass door in her kitchen had been boarded up temporarily, and everything felt different somehow, as if the sense of safety and security she'd built over the past 2 years had been shattered along with that door. She walked through the house, assessing the damage, and trying to process everything that had happened. In her laundry room, she found Marcus's leather jacket still tumbling in the dryer, forgotten in all the chaos. She pulled it out, holding the heavy garment in her hands, and breathing in that distinctive scent of leather and motor oil. The jacket felt like a tangible connection to Marcus, and Anna realized that despite everything that had occurred, she was worried about him. The man she'd met tonight, the one who had politely accepted her hospitality and tried to protect her from danger, didn't seem like the criminal the police were describing. But then again, Anna thought as she hung the jacket on a hanger, what did she really know about reading people? Her ex-husband had fooled her for years, making her believe they had a solid marriage while he was secretly planning his exit strategy with his secretary. Anna made herself a cup of tea and sat at her kitchen table, staring at the boarded-up door and trying to make sense of her feelings. Part of her felt angry at Marcus for bringing danger to her home, but another part felt sorry for him. He'd seemed like a man running from something, and now she understood he'd been running from a lot more than just bad weather. The phone rang at nearly 3 in the morning, startling Anna out of a fitful doze in her living room chair. She'd been afraid to go upstairs to bed, worried that there might be other motorcycle club members out there who knew where she lived. Hello? She said cautiously. Anna, it's Detective Rodriguez. I'm sorry to call so late, but I wanted you to know that Marcus Kane has asked to speak with you. Anna sat up straighter. Speak with me? Why? He says there are things you need to know for your own safety. He's willing to cooperate with our investigation, but he wants to talk to you first. Is that allowed? Is that allowed? Under the circumstances, yes. He's not technically under arrest yet. He's being held as a material witness while we sort out the federal jurisdictional issues. If you're willing, we can arrange a meeting tomorrow morning. Anna hesitated. Part of her wanted nothing more to do with Marcus Kane or his complicated criminal life. But another part of her was curious about what he felt he needed to tell her. Will it be safe? She asked. Completely. It will be at the police station, with officers present. You won't be alone with him. Okay, Anna said finally. I'll do it. The next morning, Anna found herself sitting in a small conference room at the Millbrook Police Department, waiting for Marcus to be brought in. She'd barely slept after Detective Rodriguez's phone call, her mind spinning with questions about what Marcus might want to tell her. When the door opened and Marcus entered, Anna was struck by how different he looked in the harsh fluorescent lighting of the police station. Gone was the intimidating figure in black leather. Instead, he wore an orange jail jumpsuit that made him look smaller somehow, more vulnerable. His dark hair was still damp, but now from a jail shower rather than rain, and the cuts on his face looked more pronounced in the unforgiving light. Anna, he said, as he settled into the chair across from her, his hands cuffed in front of him. I wasn't sure you'd come. Detective Rodriguez said you had information I needed for my safety, Anna replied, trying to keep her voice steady. What kind of information? Marcus glanced at the detective, who was seated in the corner of the room, then back at Anna. First, I need you to know that everything I told those iron serpents last night was true, at least partly. There is money involved in this situation, and there are people who think I have it or know where it is. Do you? Why? Do you? Anna asked directly. Marcus was quiet for a long moment. It's complicated, he said finally. Everything seems to be complicated with you, Anna observed. A ghost of a smile crossed Marcus's face. Yeah, I suppose it does. His expression grew serious again. Anna, the reason I wanted to talk to you is because you're not safe. Not yet. What happened last night, that was just the beginning. Anna felt her stomach clench. What do you mean? The iron serpents aren't the only ones looking for me, Marcus explained. There are people in my own club who think I betrayed them. There are federal agents who want me to testify against both clubs. And there are some very dangerous individuals who believe I have information that could destroy their operations. And because I helped you, they think I'm involved somehow? Exactly, Marcus said grimly. In their world, there are no innocent bystanders. If you helped me, you're either part of my plan, or you're a liability that needs to be eliminated. Anna stared at him, trying to process this information. So, what am I supposed to do? Go into hiding for the rest of my life because I offered shelter to someone in a storm? No, Marcus said firmly. That's why I wanted to talk to you. There is a way to end this, but it's going to require you to trust me one more time. Detective Rodriguez leaned forward in her chair. Mr. Kane, if you're asking Mrs. Jameson to participate in some kind of operation, I need to advise her that she has no legal obligation to help you. I understand that, Marcus said, not taking his eyes off Anna. But she has every right to protect herself, and right now, that means helping me end this situation permanently. How? Anna asked. Marcus looked at Detective Rodriguez again. What I'm about to tell you is part of my cooperation with the federal investigation. Anna needs to hear this so she understands what she's gotten caught up in. Detective Rodriguez nodded. Go ahead. Marcus turned back to Anna. 6 months ago, I was approached by FBI agents who had been investigating both the Hells Angels and the Iron Serpents for racketeering, drug trafficking, and murder. They wanted me to be an informant. Anna's eyes widened. You're working for the FBI? Was, Marcus corrected. The operation went sideways when someone leaked information about my cooperation. That's when I had to run. But the Iron Serpents said you stole money from them. I did, Marcus admitted. But it wasn't theft, exactly. The FBI had me document various illegal transactions, and in the process, I ended up with access to several club accounts. When my cover was blown and I had to disappear quickly, took what I could as insurance. Insurance for what? To make sure I lived long enough to testify, Marcus said. Both clubs want me dead, but they want their money more. As long as I have it, I have leverage. Anna shook her head, feeling overwhelmed. This is insane. How does any of this affect me? Because last night changed everything, Marcus said. When you told the Iron Serpents that you knew where the money was, you made yourself part of the equation. Now they think you're my partner or my girlfriend or something, and they'll use you to get to me. But I don't know where any money is, Anna protested. They don't know that, Marcus said. And even if they did, you're still a witness to what happened last night. You can identify them. You heard them make threats, and you know they're actively hunting for me. Detective Rodriguez spoke up. Mrs. Jameson, what Mr. Kane is telling you is accurate. We've had reports of Iron Serpent's members asking questions about you around town. They know where you work, where you shop, your daily routines. Anna felt a chill run down her spine. They've been watching me? Since early this morning, Detective Rodriguez confirmed. We've had you under surveillance as well, for your protection. This is a nightmare, Anna said, putting her head in her hands. Ada, Marcus said gently. Look at me. She raised her head, meeting his dark eyes. I'm going to fix this, he said with quiet intensity. But I need your help to do it safely. What kind of help? Marcus glanced at Detective Rodriguez, who gave him a slight nod. The FBI wants to set up a meeting, he said. They want both clubs to think that you and I are going to hand over the money in exchange for safe passage. It will be a sting operation, designed to arrest the leadership of both organizations at the same time. You want me to be bait, Anna said flatly. I want you to be safe, Marcus corrected. And the only way that happens is if we eliminate the threat permanently. Half measures won't work here, Anna. These people don't forgive and forget. Anna looked back and forth between Marcus and Detective Rodriguez. What would I have to do? Detective Rodriguez answered. You would help us arrange the meeting, then wear a wire during the initial contact. Once we have enough evidence on tape, our tactical teams would move in and make the arrests. And if something goes wrong? If they figure out it's a setup? Then you'd be in extreme danger, Detective Rodriguez admitted. I won't lie to you about that, but you're already in extreme danger. At least this way, you'd have law enforcement protection. Anna was quiet for several minutes, trying to weigh her options. None of them seemed particularly appealing. There's something else, Marcus said quietly. Something I haven't told the FBI yet. Detective Rodriguez frowned. What? The money isn't the only thing I took when I ran, Marcus said. I also took records, financial documents, photographs, evidence of things both clubs have done that go way beyond what the FBI is currently investigating. What kind of things? What kind of things? Detective Rodriguez asked. Murder, Marcus said simply. Contract killings, witness elimination, things that could put half of both organizations on death row. Anna stared at him. You have evidence of murders? I have evidence of everything, Marcus said. Names, dates, locations, methods, payments. I've been documenting criminal activities for months, not just for the FBI operation, but as my own insurance policy. Where is this evidence? And? Detective Rodriguez asked. Marcus looked at Anna. That's where the trust comes in, he said. Because I'm going to tell you where it is, and you're going to be the one who retrieves it. Me? Anna said, startled. Why me? Because they're watching every move I make, and they're watching everyone I've ever had contact with in the club. But you're a civilian. Someone who just got caught up in this by accident. They'll be watching you too, but not as closely. You can get to places I can't. Detective Rodriguez leaned forward. Mr. Kane, if you have evidence of additional crimes, you need to turn it over to law enforcement immediately. I will, Marcus said. But I need Anna to get it first. It's hidden in a place that only she can access without raising suspicions. Where? Anna asked, though part of her didn't want to know. Marcus met her eyes. Your house, he said quietly. Anna felt her mouth fall open. My house? When did you hide anything in my house? I didn't, Marcus said. But I know someone who did. The room fell silent as Anna and Detective Rodriguez stared at Marcus, waiting for an explanation. Anna, Marcus said carefully, what do you know about your ex-husband's business dealings? Anna blinked, confused by the apparent change of subject. Derek? He's a financial advisor. He manages investment portfolios for wealthy clients. What kind of clients? I don't know, rich people. Doctors, lawyers, business owners. Anna paused, the terrible suspicion beginning to form. Why? Marcus exchanged a look with Detective Rodriguez before continuing. 6 months ago, when the FBI first approached me, one of the things they were investigating was money laundering. Specifically, motorcycle clubs using legitimate businesses to clean drug money and other illegal proceeds. Anna felt the blood drain from her face. "You're not suggesting that Derek—" "I'm not suggesting anything," Marcus said. "I'm telling you that your ex-husband has been laundering money for both the Hells Angels and the Iron Serpents for the past 3 years." The room seemed to spin around Anna as she tried to process this information. "That's impossible," she said weakly. "Derek might be a cheating bastard, but he's not a criminal." "Anna," Detective Rodriguez said gently, "we've been investigating your ex-husband's financial activities as part of the broader motorcycle club investigation. He's been moving millions of dollars through fake investment accounts." "Millions? Millions?" Anna repeated numbly. "The clubs needed someone clean," Marcus continued. "Someone with no criminal record, no obvious connections to organized crime. Someone respectable. Derek fit the profile perfectly." "But why are you telling me this?" Anna asked. "What does it have to do with evidence hidden in my house?" "Because Derek got greedy," Marcus said. "He started skimming money from the accounts he was supposed to be cleaning. Not much at first, but over time it added up to a substantial amount." "How substantial?" About $200,000, Marcus said. Anna stared at him as the pieces began to fall into place. "The money the Iron Serpents accused you of stealing." "Wasn't me who stole it," Marcus confirmed. "It was Derek. But when the clubs realized money was missing and Derek disappeared, they assumed I had taken it as part of my exit strategy." "Derek disappeared?" Anna said, alarm creeping into her voice. "What do you mean, disappeared?" Detective Rodriguez and Marcus exchanged another look. "Anna," Detective Rodriguez said carefully, "when was the last time you spoke to your ex-husband?" Anna thought for a moment. "About 3 weeks ago. He called about some paperwork related to our divorce settlement." She paused, a terrible realization dawning. "Oh my God. You think they killed him?" "We don't know," Detective Rodriguez said. "He hasn't been seen in over 2 weeks. And he's not answering his phone or responding to emails. His office says he's on vacation, but they don't know where." Ada put her head in her hands again, feeling completely overwhelmed. First she'd learned that her ex-husband was a criminal, and now she was being told he might be dead. "Anna," Marcus said gently, "I know this is a lot to take in, but I need you to focus on what I'm about to tell you. Before Derek disappeared, he hid evidence of all his money laundering activities. Records of every transaction, copies of every fake account, documentation of every penny he moved for both clubs." "And you think he hid it in my house?" Anna asked through her fingers. "I know he did," Marcus said. "Because he told me." Anna looked up, startled. "He told you? When? How do you even know Derek?" "I don't, not personally," Marcus said. "But 3 weeks ago, right before he vanished, Derek contacted the FBI. He wanted to make a deal, trade information for protection. The FBI put him in touch with me, since I was already cooperating with their investigation." "Derek was going to be an informant too?" "He was scared," Marcus said. "He'd figured out that both clubs were starting to suspect him of skimming. And he knew what happened to people who crossed organizations like that. He wanted to disappear into witness protection. But first he wanted to make sure he had enough evidence to guarantee his safety." "What did he tell you about my house?" Marcus hesitated, as if choosing his words carefully. "He said that when you two were still married, he used your home office as his secondary workspace. He had files there, a computer setup, financial records." "Yes," Anna confirmed. "He worked from home a lot, especially in the evenings, and on weekends. What he didn't tell you was that he was using that office to manage the money laundering operation. And when things started getting dangerous, he hid copies of everything in a place where he thought no one would think to look." "2. Where in my house?" Anna asked, though she was beginning to suspect she already knew. "He said he put everything in a fireproof safe behind the false wall in your basement," Marcus said. Anna stared at him. "I don't have a basement." Marcus frowned. "What do you mean you don't have a basement?" "My house doesn't have a basement," Anna repeated. "It's built on a concrete slab. There is no basement." Detective Rodriguez looked confused. "Mr. Kane, are you sure that's what he told you?" "Positive," Marcus said. He specifically mentioned a basement safe behind a false wall. Anna shook her head. There has to be some mistake. Maybe he was talking about someone else's house, or maybe I misunderstood what house you meant. No, Marcus said with certainty. He said the house on Maple Street in Millbrook, the house where his ex-wife still lives. That's my house, Anna confirmed. But I'm telling you, there's no basement. The three of them sat in puzzled silence for a moment. Then Detective Rodriguez spoke up. Mrs. Jameson, how long have you lived in that house? 3 years, Anna said. Derek and I bought it together right before our marriage started falling apart. And you've never seen any evidence of the basement? No access door, no stairs leading down? Nothing, Anna said firmly. The house is single-story with an attached garage. The only thing below ground level is the foundation. Marcus looked thoughtful. What about the garage? Is there any kind of storage area or workshop space? Just the garage itself, Anna said. Although, she paused, remembering something. Although what? Detective Rodriguez prompted. There's a door in the back wall of the garage that I've never opened, Anna said slowly. Derek told me it was just a utility closet, but he always kept it locked. I assumed it was where he stored his golf clubs or something. Marcus and Detective Rodriguez looked at each other with interest. Mrs. Jameson, Detective Rodriguez said, I think we need to take a look at that utility closet. 2 hours later, Anna found herself standing in her own garage with Detective Rodriguez, Marcus, and 2 FBI agents, staring at the locked door she'd never given much thought to over the past 3 years. You really never opened this? FBI Special Agent Jennifer Walsh asked, examining the heavy-duty deadbolt lock that secured the door. Never had any reason to, Anna said. Derek handled all the household maintenance and storage. I just assumed it was his space. Agent Walsh produced a set of lockpicks and went to work on the deadbolt while everyone else waited. Within minutes, the lock clicked open, and she turned the handle. Instead of the small utility closet Anna had expected, the door revealed a narrow staircase leading downward into darkness. Well, I'll be damned, Marcus said quietly. Agent Walsh drew her flashlight and gun simultaneously, starting down the stairs with Detective Rodriguez close behind. Anna and Marcus waited at the top while the 2 law enforcement officers cleared what turned out to be a surprisingly large underground space. All clear, Agent Walsh called from below. You need to see this. Anna followed Marcus down the narrow wooden stairs, her heart pounding with a mixture of curiosity and dread. The space below was larger than her entire living room, with concrete walls and a dropped ceiling that had been professionally finished. The air smelled of concrete dust and something else, something metallic. What she saw when they reached the bottom made her gasp. The basement, because that's clearly what it was despite her house supposedly not having one, was set up as a complete office workspace. There were filing cabinets, computer equipment, multiple monitors, and a large desk covered with papers and documents. But what drew everyone's attention was the large gun safe in the far corner, standing open to reveal stacks of cash, computer hard drives, and bankers' boxes full of files. Jesus Christ, Detective Rodriguez muttered, surveying the scene. Derek was running a major operation down here. Anna felt sick as she looked around the space. For 3 years, she'd been living above what was essentially a criminal headquarters, completely oblivious to what her ex-husband had been doing. Anna, Marcus said gently, are you okay? She shook her head. I feel like such an idiot. How could I not know this was here? How could I be so blind? Agent Walsh was examining the contents of the safe. Don't blame yourself, she said without looking up. This is sophisticated work. He went to a lot of trouble to keep this hidden from you. But it's my house, Anna protested. How do you build an entire basement without the owner knowing about it? Actually, Detective Rodriguez said, examining the construction, I think this space was here when you bought the house. Look at the age of this concrete, the way the walls are finished. This wasn't recently built. Anna stared at her. You mean the house did have a basement, and Derek just hid it from me? That would be my guess, Detective Rodriguez said. He probably told you it was just a utility closet and made sure you never had any reason to investigate. Marcus was looking through some of the papers on the desk. "Anna, you need to see this," he said quietly. She walked over to where he was standing, dreading what he might have found. Marcus handed her a manila folder labeled Insurance Policy. Inside were photocopies of bank statements, wire transfer records, and what appeared to be communication logs detailing money laundering activities going back several years. But what made Anna's blood run cold were the photographs clipped to the back of the folder. They were surveillance photos, the kind taken with a long-range lens, showing various people in what appeared to be clandestine meetings. Some of the faces Anna didn't recognize, but others were clearly identifiable as the same Iron Serpent's members who had broken into her house the night before. "Derek was documenting everything," Marcus said. "Every meeting, every transaction, every person involved in the operation." Agent Walsh looked over Anna's shoulder at the photographs. "This is incredibly valuable evidence," she said. "With this documentation, we can dismantle both organizations completely." "But Derek's still missing," Anna said. "If he had all this evidence, why didn't he just turn it over to the FBI when he first contacted you?" Marcus was quiet for a moment before answering. "Because he was planning to disappear with the money he'd stolen. He wanted to make sure he had leverage in case the FBI deal fell through." "You mean he was going to run?" Anna said. "I think so, yes." Anna looked around the basement workspace again, seeing it with new eyes. "This is why they're after me," she said with dawning understanding. "It's not just about the money Derek stole. It's about all of this evidence. They think I know about it." "Which you do, now," Detective Rodriguez pointed out. Agent Walsh was still examining the contents of the safe. "Mrs. Jameson, there's something else here you should see." Anna walked over reluctantly, not sure she could handle any more revelations. Agent Walsh handed her an envelope with "Anna" written on the front in Derek's familiar handwriting. With shaking hands, Anna opened the envelope and extracted a handwritten letter. "Anna," the letter began, "if you're reading this, then something has happened to me, and the FBI has found my insurance policy. I know you must hate me for the lies and the cheating, but I need you to understand that everything I did was to protect you from this world. I never meant for you to get involved, and I did everything I could to keep you safe and ignorant of my activities. By the time you read this, both motorcycle clubs will probably be looking for you, thinking you know where their money is, or that you have access to the evidence I've gathered. You don't, and I made sure of that deliberately. But they won't believe you, so you need to get this information to the FBI immediately, and then disappear until they can arrest everyone involved. I've left enough cash in the safe to get you started somewhere new, and I've already set up a new identity for you if you need it. I know you won't forgive me for what I've done, but please believe that I do love you, even if I never knew how to show it properly. Be careful, be smart, and don't trust anyone except federal agents. Derek." Anna read the letter twice before handing it to Detective Rodriguez, feeling emotionally drained. Even in his attempt to protect her, Derek had managed to turn her life completely upside down. "Well," Agent Walsh said, closing the safe, "I think we have everything we need for the operation." "What operation?" Anna asked. "The one Mr. Kane proposed," Agent Walsh said. "We're going to arrange a meeting with both motorcycle clubs. Let them think you and Mr. Kane are turning over Derek's evidence in exchange for your safety. When they show up, we'll arrest them." Anna looked at Marcus, who was watching her with concern. "And you really think this will work?" "It's our best chance," Marcus said. "With Derek's evidence and the testimony from both of us, the FBI can shut down both organizations permanently." "What about Derek?" Anna asked. "Do you think he's still alive?" Agent Walsh and Detective Rodriguez exchanged glances. "Mrs. Jameson," Agent Walsh said carefully, "we found Derek's car this morning. It was pulled from a river about 50 miles north of here." Anna felt the room spin around her. Was he? "We haven't recovered a body," Agent Walsh said. "It's possible he escaped and is in hiding. But given the circumstances, we have to assume the worst." Anna sank down into Derek's desk chair, overwhelmed by everything she'd learned. Her ex-husband was probably dead, killed by criminals he'd been working with. She was now a target of those same criminals because they thought she had information that could destroy them. and the only way to ensure her safety was to participate in a dangerous FBI sting operation. Anna, Marcus said, kneeling down beside her chair, I know this is overwhelming, but we can end this. We can make sure these people can't hurt anyone else. Anna looked at him, studying his face. Despite everything that had happened, despite all the chaos he'd brought into her life, she found herself trusting him. There was something in his eyes, a sincerity and determination that made her believe he genuinely wanted to protect her. What do I need to do? She asked quietly. Agent Walsh outlined the plan. They would contact both motorcycle clubs through intermediaries, claiming that Anna and Marcus were willing to trade Derek's evidence and the stolen money for safe passage out of the state. The meeting would be set for the next evening, at a location that would allow the FBI to position tactical teams nearby. Anna would wear a wire and be equipped with a tracking device. The initial meeting would be brief, just long enough to get the club leadership on record agreeing to the deal and discussing their criminal activities. Once the FBI had sufficient evidence on tape, tactical teams would move in to make arrests. What if something goes wrong? Anna asked. What if they figure out it's a setup? Then we get you out of there as fast as possible. Agent Walsh said. You'll have FBI agents positioned within 100 yards of the meeting location at all times. Marcus reached over and took Anna's hand. Anna, I promise you, I won't let anything happen to you. I got you into this mess, and I'm going to get you out of it safely. Anna looked at their joined hands, surprised by how comforting his touch was. Despite everything, despite the danger and the deception and the chaos, she realized she felt safer with Marcus than she had in years. Okay, she said finally, let's do it. The next 24 hours passed in a blur of preparation and anxiety. Anna spent the day at a safe house, while FBI agents processed Derek's evidence and made contact with both motorcycle clubs. Agent Walsh kept her updated on the progress. And by evening, everything was in place. The meeting had been arranged for 10 o'clock at night in the parking lot of an abandoned shopping center on the outskirts of town. Both clubs had agreed to send their leadership, enticed by the promise of recovering their money and eliminating the evidence that could destroy them. Remember, Agent Walsh said, as she helped Anna adjust the wire equipment, keep them talking as much as possible. We need them to incriminate themselves on tape. Ask questions about Derek, about the money laundering operation, about anything that might get them to admit to criminal activity. Anna nodded, trying to calm her nerves. She was wearing dark jeans, a black sweater, and a leather jacket borrowed from one of the female agents. The wire was virtually undetectable, and the tracking device was sewn into the lining of her jacket. Marcus appeared in the doorway of the safe house, wearing his own leather jacket, the one Anna had dried for him 2 nights earlier. He looked tense but determined. You ready for this? He asked Anna. As ready as I'll ever be, she replied. They drove to the meeting location in separate cars, followed by unmarked FBI vehicles at a distance. The abandoned shopping center was perfect for the FBI's purposes, with multiple positions where agents could hide while maintaining clear lines of sight to the parking lot. Anna arrived first, parking near the center of the lot, as instructed. She could see Marcus's motorcycle approaching Gray from the north, and shortly after, the sound of multiple bikes announced the arrival of the club members. 6 motorcycles pulled into the parking lot, 3 displaying Iron Serpent's colors, and 3 wearing Hell's Angels patches. Anna recognized Razor and his companion from 2 nights earlier, but the others were new faces. The Hell's Angels group included an older man with gray hair and a full beard who appeared to be in charge. Anna got out of her car slowly, her heart pounding so hard she was sure everyone could hear it. Marcus parked his bike nearby and walked over to stand beside her, his presence providing some comfort despite the dangerous situation. Well, well, Razor said as he dismounted from his bike. If it isn't our suburban princess. You look different when you're not hiding behind locked doors. Let's just get this over with, Marcus said, positioning himself slightly in front of Anna. You want the evidence and the money, we want safe passage. Simple transaction. The gray-haired Hell's Angels member stepped forward. I'm Devil's Advocate, he said, using what was obviously a club nickname. I speak for the Oakland chapter. You're Marcus Kane. That's right. You've caused us a lot of trouble, brother. Devil's Advocate said. A lot of people want to see you dead. I imagine they do, Marcus replied calmly. But dead men can't tell you where to find $200,000. About that money, one of the Iron Serpents said. How do we know you actually have it? Anna forced herself to speak, remembering Agent Walsh's instructions to keep them talking. We have everything, she said, hoping her voice sounded stronger than she felt. The money Derek stole, and all the records of how he laundered funds for both your organizations. Razor grinned unpleasantly. And what makes you think we won't just kill you both and tear apart your house until we find it ourselves? Because you already tried that, Marcus said. And it didn't work out so well for you. That was just a scouting mission, Razor said. Next time, we won't be so polite. Devil's Advocate held up a hand, silencing Razor. Let's stay focused on business, he said. You have our money and our records. What exactly do you want in return? Safe passage to the Canadian border, Anna said, following the script they'd rehearsed. And your word that neither of our organizations will come after us once we're gone. Our word? One of the Iron Serpents laughed. Lady, you're not exactly in a position to negotiate. Sure we are, Marcus said. Because without us, you'll never see that money again, and those records will end up in the hands of the FBI. Speaking of records, Devil's Advocate said, what exactly did your boyfriend Derek document about our bow? Activities? Anna felt a surge of anger at hearing Derek called her boyfriend, but she forced herself to stay calm. Everything, she said. Bank account numbers, wire transfer records, meeting locations, names and dates. 3 years' worth of every transaction he handled for both clubs. That's impossible, Razor said. We were careful about what information we shared with him. Were you? Anna asked. Because Derek was very good at his job. He had to keep detailed records to make the money laundering work, and he kept copies of everything as insurance. Insurance against what? Devil's Advocate asked. Against exactly what ended up happening, Marcus said. He knew that eventually you'd start to suspect him of skimming, and he wanted to make sure he had leverage. So he was stealing from us, one of the Iron Serpents said. A little bit at a time, Anna confirmed, hoping to get them to admit more about their illegal activities. He thought you wouldn't notice small amounts disappearing from the accounts he was managing. How much did he take altogether? Devil's Advocate asked. About $200,000 over the past year, Marcus said. Son of a bitch, Razor muttered. I knew we couldn't trust some suburban pencil pusher. Derek wasn't the only one you couldn't trust, said a new voice from the darkness. Everyone in the parking lot turned toward the sound, and Anna felt her blood freeze as Derek stepped into the circle of light cast by the overhead lamps. He was alive, but he looked terrible, with several days of stubble and clothes that suggested he'd been sleeping rough. Hello, Anna, Derek said with a weak smile. Sorry about all this. Derek, Anna gasped. You're alive. We thought you were dead. Not quite, Derek said. Though it was a close thing for a while there. Agent Walsh's voice crackled in Anna's earpiece. This is unexpected. Stay calm and keep everyone talking. Marcus stepped protectively closer to Anna. What are you doing here, Derek? Cleaning up my mess, Derek said. I never intended for Anna to get dragged into this situation. Too late for that now, Razor said, drawing a gun. All 3 of you are going to tell us exactly where our money is, and then you're going to die. But before anyone could react to Razor's threat, the parking lot erupted in chaos. Floodlights blazed to life from multiple directions, and amplified voices began shouting instructions. FBI, everyone on the ground now, hands where we can see them. Tactical agents in full gear emerged from concealment positions around the parking lot, surrounding the group with automatic weapons drawn. The motorcycle club members looked around wildly, realizing they'd been trapped. Son of a bitch, Devil's Advocate said, but he was already raising his hands in surrender. Most of the club members complied immediately, recognizing that resistance would be futile. But Razor, perhaps panicked by the sudden appearance of law enforcement, made a different choice. Instead of surrendering, he grabbed Anna and pressed his gun to her head. Back off! He shouted at the FBI agents. Everyone back off or she dies! Anna felt terror wash over her, as the cold metal of Razor's gun pressed against her temple. She could hear Agent Walsh's voice in her earpiece, but the words seemed to come from very far away. Marcus raised his hand slowly. "Let her go, Razor. This is between you and me." "Shut up," Razor screamed. "This is all your fault. If you hadn't ratted us out, none of this would have happened." "I didn't rat anyone out," Marcus said calmly, taking a small step closer. "The FBI already had you under investigation. I was just trying to save my own skin." "Bullshit," Razor said, but Anna could feel his grip loosening slightly as he focused on Marcus. "It's true," Derek said unexpectedly. "The federal investigation started months before Marcus got involved. They approached him because they already knew about the money laundering operation." "Derek," Agent Walsh's voice said through Anna's earpiece, "keep on talking." "How would you know?" Razor demanded, his attention now divided between Marcus and Derek. "Because they approached me first," Derek said. 6 months ago. They already had evidence of the financial transactions. They just needed someone on the inside to help them build a comprehensive case. Anna realized what Derek was doing, creating a distraction to help the FBI agents get into position. She could see movement in her peripheral vision. Agents moving closer, while Razor's attention was focused on the two men. "You were working for the feds too?" Devil's Advocate asked Derek with disgust. "I was trying to save my own ass," Derek admitted. "Just like everyone else here." Marcus took another step closer. "Razor, think about this. You're already looking at serious time for the money laundering and racketeering charges. Don't make it worse by adding kidnapping and murder to the list." "It's already worse." It's already worse," Razor shouted. "They got everything. All our financial records, our membership lists, evidence of jobs we've done. We're all going to die in prison anyway." "Not necessarily," Marcus said. "Cooperate with the investigation, help them understand how the organizations work, and maybe you can work out a deal." "Like you did?" Razor asked mockingly. "Yeah," Marcus said simply. "Like I did." Anna felt Razor's grip on her tighten again as he considered Marcus's words. She could see an FBI sniper positioned on the roof of the abandoned building behind them, his rifle trained on Razor's head. In that moment, Marcus moved with lightning speed, lunging forward and grabbing Razor's gun hand, while simultaneously pulling Anna away from the armed man. The gun went off, the shot echoing across the empty parking lot, but the bullet went harmlessly into the air. FBI agents swarmed Razor immediately, taking him to the ground and securing his weapon while Marcus pulled Anna to safety behind one of the FBI vehicles. "Are you okay?" Marcus asked urgently, his hands on Anna's shoulders as he searched her face for signs of injury. Anna nodded, shaking from adrenaline but unharmed. "I'm okay," she managed to say. "Are you?" "I'm fine," Marcus said, pulling her into his arms. "It's over, Anna. It's finally over." As the FBI agents processed the arrested motorcycle club members and secured the scene, Anna and Marcus sat together on the bumper of an ambulance, each wrapped in emergency blankets despite the warm October night. "So, what happens now?" Anna asked. "Now the real work begins," Agent Walsh said, approaching them with a satisfied expression. "We have enough evidence to dismantle both organizations completely. The financial records your ex-husband compiled, combined with tonight's recorded conversations, will put most of these people away for decades." "What about Derek?" Anna asked, looking over at her ex-husband, who was being processed as a cooperating witness rather than a suspect. "Mr. Morrison will likely receive immunity in exchange for his testimony," Agent Walsh said. "He'll need to relocate and probably enter witness protection, but he should avoid prison time." Anna nodded, feeling a complex mixture of relief and sadness about Derek's situation. Despite everything he'd put her through, she didn't want to see him dead. "And Marcus?" Anna asked. Agent Walsh smiled. "Mr. Kane's cooperation has been invaluable. With his testimony and the evidence we've gathered, the federal prosecutor is recommending time served plus community service. He'll be free to go in the morning." Anna looked at Marcus, who was staring out across the parking lot with an unreadable expression. "What will you do?" she asked him quietly. Marcus was silent for a long moment before responding. "I don't know. he admitted. For the past 6 months, my entire life has been about surviving long enough to testify. I haven't really thought about what comes after. Well, Anna said, surprising herself with her boldness, my house is going to need some repairs after all this is over. The basement needs to be properly sealed, the sliding door needs to be replaced, and I could probably use some help with general maintenance. Marcus turned to look at her, a slow smile spreading across his face. Are you offering me a job, Anna Jameson? I'm offering you a chance to start over, Anna said. Both of us, actually. I think we could both use a fresh beginning. Marcus reached over and took her hand, the same way he had in the police station conference room. Are you sure about this? After everything that's happened, everything I've brought into your life? Anna thought about the past 3 days, about how drastically her quiet, predictable existence had been turned upside down. She thought about the fear and the danger and the constant uncertainty. But she also thought about Marcus's gentle hands and kind eyes, about the way he'd protected her, even when it meant putting himself in greater danger. I'm sure, she said firmly. Besides, I think my life was getting a little too boring anyway. Marcus laughed, a genuine sound of joy that Anna realized she'd never heard from him before. Well, in that case, I accept, but I should probably warn you, I don't know much about home repair. That's okay, Anna said, leaning against his shoulder as FBI agents continued their work around them. We'll figure it out as we go along. 6 months later, Anna stood in her renovated kitchen, watching through the new sliding glass door as Marcus worked in the backyard, building raised garden beds for the vegetable garden they'd planned together. The basement had been properly converted into a legitimate storage space. Derek's criminal enterprise, erased and replaced with holiday decorations and boxes of keepsakes. Marcus had kept his promise to help with home repairs. Though Anna suspected he'd learned most of his handyman skills from YouTube videos and determination rather than any previous experience. But together, they'd managed to transform her house from a crime scene back into a home. He'd also kept his promise about starting over. The leather jacket with its death's head patches hung in the back of Anna's closet now, a reminder of a life he'd chosen to leave behind. These days he wore simple t-shirts and jeans, worked part-time at a local motorcycle repair shop, and was taking evening classes to finish his GED. Ada poured 2 glasses of iced tea and carried them outside, where Marcus was taking a break from his construction project. How's it coming along? She asked, handing him a glass. Good, Marcus said, wiping sweat from his forehead with the back of his hand. Should be ready for planting by next weekend. They sat together on the back steps, watching the sun set over their quiet suburban neighborhood. Anna still marveled sometimes at how normal their life had become. How the chaos and danger of that October night seemed like something that had happened to other people. Any regrets? She asked Marcus, a question she'd posed several times over the months they'd been together. About leaving the club? Marcus considered this. No. That life was killing me, literally and figuratively. I just wish it hadn't taken me so long to figure out there were other options. What about meeting me? Marcus turned to look at her with the same intensity she'd seen in her living room that first night when she'd offered shelter to a dangerous stranger. Meeting you, he said seriously, was the best thing that ever happened to me. Even if it did start with me breaking down in a thunderstorm. Anna smiled, remembering that night and how terrified she'd been when she first saw his jacket. Now that same jacket represented not danger, but the courage it had taken for both of them to choose a different path. I love you too, she said, leaning over to kiss him softly. As the stars began to appear in the darkening sky, Anna reflected on how much her life had changed since she'd made the simple decision to help a stranded motorist. She'd lost her sense of safety and predictability, but she'd gained something far more valuable. A partner who understood that real strength sometimes meant walking away from the fight, and that the most dangerous journey was often the one that led to a better life. The leather jacket in her closet would always remind her that everyone deserved a second chance, even leather-clad strangers who appeared in thunderstorms. And sometimes, if you were very lucky, offering that second chance could change your own life in ways you never imagined possible.